Knits, my podcast where I talk about knitting, spinning, and sometimes quilting. I'm a mom of 3 living in Buffalo, New York, and thank you for stopping by. So happy holidays, everyone. It's the 5th night of Hanukkah. Tonight will be the 6th night of Hanukkah. And it's a little less than 2 weeks until Christmas, so it's all very exciting. I wanted to get a episode out before the holiday and before the new year, but I don't have anything finished. I'm still working on whips. I made an effort this summer to finish my whips that I had laying around and just unravel or frog things that I was not going to work on. I got rid of some yarns that were scraps that I knew I wasn't going to use anymore. And I set up my studio space again. So I have my spinning wheel in there now. And yeah, I'm just trying to organize all my crafty stuff before the new year and have select projects on my needles and on the bobbins and stuff. Long story short, I have 2 whips that I've been working on since October. Oh, but I'm gonna start with what I'm wearing. This sweater was last year's holiday sweater. So this is Blizzard by Jessica McDonald, and I knit a matching baby sweater for my son that was called Skift. It was basically the same pattern, just, you know, less of this. And this I knit with Lion Brand's Feels Like Heaven, which is 100% nylon. At the time I was doing vegan yarn only. I've since switched to, I just knit with whatever I like. So I made an exception for wool, but this for a vegan yarn was really nice. It feels kind of heavy duty because lots of vegan yarns, if they're plant-based, are pretty much summer yarns. So I really liked this one, and I liked the color combination of the charcoal and beige colorways. They don't have many colors in this yarn. So they have like a teal, a white, a beige, a charcoal, sort of blush pink, and I think a yellow, I don't know. So not many nice colors, but I did like the black and white, the way that this knit up in the black and white. So I've knit the halibut sweater in the same yarn combination actually too. So I've knit 3 sweaters in the Feels Like Heaven from Lion Brand, and I'm still happy with them a year later. They're definitely holding up nicely, not pilling, they're warm. Yeah, and I really like this pattern. The yarn was supposed to be DK, but I think it's more of a worsted because the yoke was ending up becoming a little bit deep. My underarm is right here, so it's about the right length from the underarm, but I had to move the last band of color work underneath the arm because otherwise the yoke would have been too deep, and I wanted it to be a little more fitted. Oh, I remember when I knit this, I knit the whole body, bound off on the bottom, and realized that it was way too big and I had to unravel the entire thing. But I still managed to get it done before the holidays. And keeping with that tradition, I have another holiday sweater that I'm really hoping to get done before the holidays. I haven't had to frog it yet, but I'm not confident that I'm going to be able to win the game of yarn chicken that I'm currently playing with it. So my holiday sweater for this year is the Cassiopeia cardigan by Jarbo, and I can't even pronounce the designer's name. It looks like Birger Berge. I don't know, I'm sorry. I can't pronounce it. But This is a cardigan that's being knit in the round and will be steeked in the front. It is knit bottom up. Oh, it's a free pattern too, by the way. I've been trying to utilize some free patterns because there are a lot of really nice free patterns that I've been overlooking lately. So the body is color work, obviously. Got these nice sort of winter stars. And this is the band where I'm gonna steek it when I'm done. And I've just attached the sleeves, and the sleeves have this color work here at the bottom. I used one sleeve as a gauge swatch. And so I knit the sleeve and I blocked it and I measured it, and I ended up having to frog that and change the needle size. So this has several needle sizes. The ribbing is in needle size 4. The stockinette portion ended up having to be a needle size 5, and the color work is a needle size 7. And that is how I got everything to come out fairly evenly. And I'm pretty confident that it will look nice. I did end up knitting the sleeves 1 inch shorter than they asked for. They asked for 19 inches, and I believe I did 18. And that was only because when I blocked the first sleeve, it was too big. So I went down a needle size, and then I just knit with until I ran out of yarn because I had cut it before I blocked it. So it ended up being an inch shorter. So I just left it. I think it'll be okay. It'll be about a bracelet length. Probably a little bit shorter than I would normally like, but I do want this to be more fitted, and I'm hoping it turns out that way. But yeah, I just finished the color work, and that was so much fun. The color work is so much fun. It came out so nice. I love it. Even on the sides. Now this is a big repeat. And in order to center it on the front and back so you could cut the cardigan and have it be mirrored, you basically had to restart the chart from the beginning once you reach the side. So you would, each front had 2 repeats of the chart, and then you had to stop what you were doing once you hit the side seam and restart the chart going for the back. And then you had to restart it again for the front, if that makes sense. And I was a little afraid it would look funky, and it kind of does, like you can see right here. I was only 1 stitch off, so I actually, you can see there's the seam. This pattern asked for, oh, you can't see it very well. This pattern is using a purl as a side seam. So there's 1 purl stitch just going down the side, and that marks the seam. And so you can see where I had to restart. Oh, if I can show you, I don't know if you can tell. I had to restart the chart right there. So the star is a little bit wonky, but you can really hardly tell the difference. I hope that makes sense. I hope you know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, this is being knit with some yarn I bought at Rhinebeck, and it's the Mountain View Coopworth, or Mountain View Coopworths. It's worsted weight, and each skein was 185 yards. I bought 4 skeins, and I am currently on my last skein for the yoke. And I am not at all confident that I'm gonna be able to finish without running out of yarn. And I did the math so many times, I calculated so many times, and I'm just feeling like it's not gonna happen. I knit this body with 1 skein though. And that's a lot of, I mean, with 1 skein of green, right? The contrast color is a different one. The contrast color is Bluebird or Blue Sky fibers. What was it? Yeah, Blue Sky Fibers wool stock in the color Highland Fleece. And I definitely had enough of that. It's the green I'm worried about. I knit this whole thing with one skein, the whole body. And I'm starting the last skein with the yoke, and I'm just really hoping I can do it. Plus I have to do the button band. How much would it suck if I did the whole thing and I thought I had enough for the button band, so I steeked it and then realized that I didn't have enough for the button band? I feel like that would really suck, and I feel like that's what's gonna happen. I feel like that's what's gonna happen. I think I can probably do the button band before I steek it, right? I might have to do that. Yeah. Because what I could do, if it comes down to it, is I could rip back the whole yoke, detach the sleeves, and unravel the sleeves to be maybe a 3/4 length. I think that's as far as I'd want to go with it. And then use that yarn to finish it, if it came down to it. At the end of the day though, I should have several hundred meters or yards more than the pattern actually asked for. So I don't know. It's also a free pattern, so I'm afraid that maybe they weren't like super careful with the yardage. You know what I mean? Like maybe they weren't paying as much attention to it because it was gonna be a free pattern. I don't know. Anyway, next, my second whip that I'm working on. Can you believe that I've been knitting for years and years? I mean, I picked it back up heavily in 2020, I would say. But I don't have any hats. I don't have hats or mittens or a scarf to wear. I have some shawls I can wear, but I just have a child-size head. So every hat that I make ends up being too big, and it just sort of slides down. And it's very annoying. So it makes, I don't want to do a swatch for a hat, you know what I mean? It's not. But I made the commitment that I wanted to make myself a winter hat, and it needed to be my favorite hat. And so I've been working on, so this is the Basic Witch Beanie by Dora Violet. And I am knitting this with Cece's wool in honeycomb, which is right there. I got that at Rhinebeck. And I'm holding it together with Knitting for Olives soft silk mohair in the color Autumn. And I absolutely love how it's coming out. I think it's beautiful. It got a little dark. It's getting overcast now. It's super windy out, so I don't know if you can see the color as clearly, but I love how this is turning out. It is very nice. I didn't think that I would like a hat with just this because there are some really dark spots and I didn't want it to be too speckly. So the mohair really softens it and keeps it interesting though. So I really love this. I think it's beautiful. When I first started knitting, I've been knitting on this forever. When I first started this, I wanted to do it in stockinette because I don't like 1x1 rib. All right, so I measured the gauge and it turned out it was way too big. So I had to frog most of it. I just kept a small circle and started knitting from there. And the second time I did it, I went all the way down to the point where I could basically put it on my head. And I realized at that point that my 16-inch knitting needle cord was bigger than my head. So I was using the 16-inch with the needles, and I have these clover needles. I don't know how long they are, but they're fairly long. I could put the whole thing just over my head without the stitches falling off the needle, if you know what I mean. And so I realized like this hat is still way too big. So I switched to the 9-inch, and I just reknit it from scratch, and I decided to go ahead and do the 1x1 rib since the hat was taking me forever anyway. Doing stockinette wasn't going to save me any time. And I think I really do like the look of the 1x1 rib anyway. I think it looks better. It'll fit the way it's supposed to fit. I ended up, the pattern said it wanted 136 stitches, I believe. And I ended up doing 100 stitches. I think I had to add 104 to evenly distribute the increases, but it was about 100. I have a 21-inch head around, and so 19 inches should be what fits my head. So I'm just hoping it works out. Now, with this hat, you are folding it in on itself and then folding the cuff upwards, so it should be a little bit tighter. I don't know, so hopefully it's not too tight. Hopefully it works out. That's the basic witch beanie, also a free pattern. All right, so those are my knitting whips. Now for my spinning whips, I am still working on this Shetland. I am almost done with the second bobbin. I have 3 little nests left to spin up, and then I can ply it, and I will be done with this. This was from Black North Fiber, and I purchased this at the Western New York Fiber Festival. I believe it's Shetland. I can't confirm that though. And it's in the color Autumn again. And this is kind of a brown with orange and some blue, some light blue. So I don't know if you can tell, it got dark, so. But there's some blues there and some oranges. So I'm very excited about this. I bought, I believe, 16 ounces, and it's taking me a long time to finish it. But I don't get much time to go down to my studio to work on the spinning stuff. My son really likes to play with the spinning wheel while I'm using it, and I don't want his fingers to get squashed, so I don't get to do it as often. I guess speaking of spinning, I still have my Hello Yarn fiber that I haven't been able to spin yet, but I have like I've prepped the fiber for what I'm going to do next. So I have the September collection, or I have the September coordinate pack from Hello Yarn, which was called Willow the Wisp, and that's Targhee, and that came in these lovely colors, which I have put into Rolags. So it was this sort of light purple, dark purple, blue, dark blue, green, light green. Lots of lovely colors. Now, I did a bunch of Rolags on my blending board. And I made it kind of into a fractal. So I have these here, which are just one repetition of, it's not a rainbow, but all the colors. One repetition of all the colors. And then I have the other half of the Rolags. The other half of the fiber is 2 repetitions of the colors. And somehow I ended up with 6 Rolags of the single repetition, but 5 Rolags of the double repetition, if that makes sense. So I was hoping to do a fractal spin, and that should work anyway, even though it's not quite even. Now, the Hello Yarn coordinate pack comes with 6 ounces. Yeah, 6 ounces. So it's 1 ounce of each color. Now, that was not all of the colors for this pack. There was an additional color that I did not include in the Rolags. And that, well, actually, I'm not gonna open it. That was this orange right here. There was a nice orange color in there, and I think it would look beautiful with all the colors, but the October coordinate pack, which is called We've Got Ghosts, was all of these colors, right? Brown, light brown. It was these colors without the orange. And I just thought that this pack, it just looked a little incomplete. And when I took the orange out of the September pack and put it in here, like, I feel like this looks like a really fantastic color combination. So this is now 7 ounces in here. And I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with it, but I definitely want all of these colors together. I think it'll make a very nice autumn themed yarn. I think the last thing is an acquisition. I wasn't gonna buy any more yarn, guys, but I couldn't help it. I had to buy the Nutiden. I've never purchased Nutiden before, and I decided to just go for it because, like, why not? And I purchased the October collection, and I purchased from the October collection, I believe. And this is in the color Svavetska, this one. And this is supposed to be the color of a wild mushroom. And it's this beautiful orange, and it actually matches almost perfectly with the Knitting for Olive Autumn. So I might have to hold it together with some mohair. And I have no plans for this. I just love the orange color. I wanted to buy some Nutiden and see what all the fuss was about. So I went ahead and did that. I got a 500 gram pack. And that is it. I hear the baby crying, so I'm gonna go get him and I'll be right back. Okay, well, this little guy is woken up from his nap, so I'm gonna say goodbye and thank you for hanging out with me.